Well, hi again, everybody. Hi again, everybody. I'm Pat O'Brien. That's Court
McCowan.
I like it when you say your name.
Well, I like it better when you do it. So you just from now on, the rule is
LeVar Arrington, the great football player, said that he got into the NFL because of the way I said his name.
See, and I could possibly get into something. I don't know what.
You could be the next Chris LeVar.
Wow,
that guy was great, wasn't he?
That guy was awesome. We got to play that.
The rapper from last week.
Yeah.
Welcome to Everything All the Time. I'm Pat. He's Court. We got a good show today. The big news, the two big sports stories, and I know. By the way, if you missed our show last week, we did a pretty compelling show on the LGBT and Q community and guns.
Yeah.
And if you want to see that show, Danny Vegas did it this week, and he called it Gays and Guns. An inappropriate name, but we were pretty proud of that show, and I got a lot of conversation.
I got a lot of comments on that, and I think that and it's funny as I talked to a friend of mine who lives in downtown Orlando later that day, and we were talking about just the way that the community is rebounded, and it's always good to hear, in a situation like that when something so tragic happens, that the community, they bond together. I remember it was 1990, I guess 93 or 94, whatever it was, the big earthquake, the Northridge quake, that really
92, I think.
93. Let's go. Let's
my
go.
house was destroyed.
Yeah, but
yeah.
But there you go. Sorry about that, buddy. But I do remember like the way the communities really came together. LA's such a vast and big city, and the way people came together was really incredible. It was really incredible, and that's what was going on in Orlando, and it was real nice to hear about that.
By the way, it's the LGBT and Q community. It's no longer called the gay community. It's all one, and they're all united, and some good will come out of this.
Yeah, and
it's been bad, but there's got to be some good, and I think the good is that people will recognize that this is a valid community, and they're together, and they're organized, and they're ready to go. And
I really hope at some point in time that they really do start taking a look. The NRA and these people start taking a look at really what serious measures of gun control can be taken. That
they did yesterday, and they voted no.
Yeah, I know, and that's just.
And as Obama says, that's a decision too.
That is a decision, and it seems like that's what we're going to continue to do. It's just one of those things. But I was watching today, or earlier today, I was watching Hillary Clinton, and I'm not, it's weird. I'm not a huge Hillary Clinton fan, but it's always interesting when this time of year, this time every 4 years, when we get into we really get into the stretch, how they just
pivot.
They pivot, and she is, she's not the greatest speaker in the world. She's not,
measured.
She's measured. Let's put it that way. The suit's got to go. Somebody's got to get in there and say, can we get rid of this wool moo-moo and put something? Yeah, she does not have a good look.
Anyway, so we got a great guest today. If you watch Sunday, if you watch Game 7 of the NBA Finals on
cleavage,
Sunday.
Can I just say cleavage? If Hillary showed cleavage, it might.
Shut up. Seriously.
I know that's not good.
What is wrong with you?
So many things.
Yeah.
So many things.
Just say everything.
Yeah. All the time.
Sunday's NBA game, Game 7, got 30 million viewers. That had to beat the ones that I used to do with Jordan. 96 Bulls was the greatest.
Yeah.
But LeBron James and the man who called that game, Mike Breen, will join us in the next segment.
I'm really looking forward to that. That was the first game I watched start to finish.
And he's good.
He's good.
And by the way, he hadn't had a day off in months.
Yeah.
And I texted him and said, will you come on? He goes, yeah, sure, for you.
Now, on another note, what also happened last week is not your favorite sport, but Pittsburgh Penguins pulled it off and won the Stanley Cup. So I know you've got a lot. There's lots you want to hear about that, but
no, I like Crosby. I like the stars in hockey.
Well, yeah, I like the fact that Pittsburgh, basically at the beginning of this year, no one gave them even close to a shot of even being in the playoffs, much less winning the Stanley Cup, and they came out and just destroyed.
And then we'll get to the USGA, which ruined the sport of golf over the weekend.
They ruined it, but the camera guy from Fox really made it interesting.
We'll get into that in our third segment. A lot of sports today. I know Bradley doesn't like that out there in Vegas, but you know what they say about people who don't know anything about sports.
Yeah.
They don't know anything about sports. That's what they say about them. So Mike Breen will join us. Get your questions ready. You can log in and log on to our computer here. I see a lot of people are doing it so far. And we'll be honest and forthwith.
Forthwith?
We'll be forceful with Breen.
Will we?
We may have to.
We have to. Well, you're the expert. You are a basketball
I did
expert.
so many of these things.
How many games do you think you actually called? Basketball games do you think you actually called?
Yeah, over a 10-year period, but we didn't pick up the games until the All-Star game, and then we picked up the playoffs and all the finals. But don't forget, when I did it all through the 80s and up into the 90s, it wasn't work. I mean, first of all, we started out with Julius Erving.
Yeah.
And then we got Magic and Bird, and then I got Jordan.
But what about when you had to call you had to call Seattle versus Phoenix?
No, because we owned the franchise. We picked the games we put on TV. So we never had to do any of that.
Never had none of those games.
So after every Sunday it was Lakers Boston. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that well.
And then when Jordan got in, every Sunday it was Michael Jordan.
What was it like in Boston Garden, the old Boston?
The greatest.
Garden?
If you did not go to the old Boston Garden, your life's over, because it was the greatest sports. First of all, it was filled with memories.
Right.
The rafters and the 13, 14 championship banners. There was no air conditioning.
No air conditioning.
Nothing.
No. So, but now, is it true that the floor would sweat like
the floor was not even. And so Larry Bird took me around the floor one time and showed me all the dead spots. So, you play basketball.
Right.
So when you get basketball and you get the floor and you hit a dead spot, and it just goes like that, and only comes up this side. He said he would always move the offensive players to a dead spot, and then he'd steal the ball from them. So, but the old Garden was very special, and, the new Garden's, modern and everything, but the old one needed to be replaced at some point, but if you haven't been there, it really was. It's like Chicago Stadium, where the Blackhawks played.
Yeah. I was just in Boston a few weeks ago and went by in the new TD, what's it called? TD Garden or whatever the new name.
They all have names.
They all have names. But it sits right in a really weird spot. It's right there by Hanover Street and right in the, kind of the downtown.
It's a beautiful stadium.
It's a beautiful stadium. And it's just, I don't know. I just would have loved to have seen it when it was Boston Garden.
I feel bad that you didn't see it.
Yeah.
If you never went to the Boston Garden or the Madhouse.
Wow.
Is that your phone?
That's your phone.
Oh. Madhouse on Madison, or Wrigley Field, you can still go to, or Fenway. Those are the parks.
I've been to Wrigley. I went to the old Soldier Field.
It's good radio, isn't it?
Yeah, this is great stuff. Soldier Field.
Soldier Field's too frickin' cold.
It's cold.
Anyway, we come back here. We're going to be joined by Mike Breen, the voice of the NBA. He called the big game on Sunday. Back in a minute.